The recent deaths of actors James Van Der Beek at 48 and Catherine O'Hara at 71 are shining a spotlight on colorectal cancer, now the deadliest cancer for U.S. adults under the age of 50. And health experts say there are 5 warning signs that you should never ignore. Joining us this afternoon is Dr. Maeen Abdelrahim, Chief of Gastrointestinal Medical Oncology at Houston Methodist. Doctor, great to have you here this afternoon. We were just talking about this in the commercial break. This is a very important conversation to have right now. Why is colorectal cancer rising among much younger adults?
Yeah, thank you for having me, first of all. And it's actually, unfortunately, a true fact. Over the last 20 years, we have noticed increased the incidence of colorectal cancer in young individuals. Young are younger than 50 years old. And there's no actually proven one cause or etiology for this increase, but there's an association, risk factor associated in this high-risk group. And one of it is actually lifestyle and diet changes. You know, obesity, sedentary lifestyle. In addition, there is increased consumption of highly processed food, processed meat, red meat, that contribute to it. In addition, there is some association between early exposure in life to some of these carcinogens, in addition to change in the gut microbiota. Gut microbiota can change by the food, by the antibiotic we use or medication, and that actually creates some metabolite in the gut, causing a chronic inflammation. And with this chronic inflammation, with time, a long time, can increase alteration and cancer.
You talk about lifestyle and the impact. Studies show that colorectal cancer has a disproportionately higher impact on the Black community. Why is that? And what does this community need to know to better protect themselves?
Actually, the data have shown that there is no germline mutation or alteration in the Black community that's different than other races to pinpoint this is the causal of changes or incidents in the Black community compared to others. But there is actually access changes, from preventive medicine to access to the screening colonoscopy, screening test, that cause some delay on the diagnosis. Socioeconomic status can be a factor. Even though there is, once the cancer happens, there is some molecular profile changes in the cancer from a Black individual or patient to the other races, but this is not enough to suggest that there's a difference in the genetic alteration causing these changes in the incidence between the Black community versus other races. But an individual, in general, need to have a better access to preventive medicine, screening, colonoscopy, a screening test, and a close follow-up. Because if you've been diagnosed with a cancer and you didn't have a close follow-up, the time changes from the diagnosis till you start a treatment. If that's long, you can change your stage from curative stage to uncurative stage. And that's why, like in the Black community, there's higher incidence. The incidence actually are more likely to be an advanced stage compared to the other races because of these regions.
What are the warning signs that we all need to be on the lookout for, warning signs that we can't ignore?
I call it red flags. And these red flags really need to be watched and we need to be aware of as all individuals, regardless of the age. And this including change in the bowel habit. For example, constipation, diarrhea, change in the stool caliber. We call it pencil stool. That's indicate there's something wrong. Blood in the stool is a big red flag because regardless if it is a bright red blood or a dark blood, this is an indication there is some lesion in the colon somewhere that could be taken in consideration. Sometimes there's non-specific sign like unintentional weight loss, abdominal pain that cannot be explained by other reason, and anemia, that is iron deficiency anemia that cannot explain by other reason, usually is a big sign of right side colon cancer in general. Yeah.
So important to not ignore any of those warning signs.
Absolutely.
Dr. Abdelrahim, thank you so much for coming in this afternoon, sir. We appreciate your insight and your perspective. Again, a very important conversation that we all should be having.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.